No? I think I'm going to just open it up right now, specifically to questions or discussions regarding the healing of the revealing ministry. We'll do free for all after the break, but for now, does anybody have any questions or any insights or any clarities or any desires or anything you'd like to say at all about the process of infinite way revealing? If so, jump in. I'm wide open to hear.
Lee, this is Ann.
Hi, Ann.
Hey. Yeah, I really got a lot out of what you just shared about. And one of the things I was thinking about when you were talking is this amped up medical and pharmaceutical world. I mean, going up against that tub, it's so powerful. It's everywhere. I mean, there must be thousands and thousands of pharmacy commercials, and our whole town over here is run by the hospital. I mean, it's so in our face all the time about medical. And I just, back in Jesus' day, there wasn't all that, and so I can imagine the healings could have been a lot more profound than even in Joel's day. It seems like it. And that's what you were talking about. I mean, it seems like such a huge thing to go up against. I mean, and try to. And I also thought about too the emotional revealing that we have seen through these classes has been just so amazing. People, I mean, yeah, maybe the physical revealing isn't so great, but, I have, through this work, I've had broken fingers, and broken wrists, and broken legs, but, but the emotional, the way my life is today, the peace and all that has been absolutely amazing, and maybe we won't ever see the medical type physical revealing because of how amped up it is out there. But that's what came to mind for me when you were talking. And also you were talking about this being the last class, and I was like, no. But I thought too, what I envisioned, I always loved it when Barbara Moll did that flashcard a week, and I think it's something like that, to spend a week on a truth, and then check in once a week and share our experience with that. That's what kind of came to mind for me when we were talking about that. But thank you for your honesty. And I wanted to know, too, what did Robert Adams and Joel and Barbara, what did they die from? And were they sick? Or, what did they have the appearance of dying from?
Well, Robert did not have a healing consciousness. The whole Advaita Vedanta movement does not have, healing is not part of their I guess you would call it ministry. Joel talks about that in some of his tapes. There are a lot of mystics, hundreds and thousands of people that have had the full mystical experience of realizing their oneness with God, but have not had the healing consciousness. So Robert is an exception. Joel, I believe, died of a heart failure. I think that's described in Lorraine's book, Lorraine's biography of Joel. I think his last days are described in that. And I don't know about Barbara Moll, but she was very healthy, and then she suddenly was gone. Herb Fitch also had he had a great healing consciousness, they say, and yet he had a stroke, and which left him, incapacitated for 2 or 3 years. He had to be taken care of before he moved on. So, there certainly has not been, an amazing success story there, but yeah, I keep getting told. I mean, I think you're exactly right. I think that there's much more pressure on believing in cancer because the more you're afraid of cancer, the more cancer pills I can sell you, and so there's a great deal of media devoted to telling you about cancer or all these other things, all the various diseases. So I think that the problem is much more difficult, but if the principles are true, and I believe at my core that they are, then we should be able to rise to the altitude where we can demonstrate it. Mm-hmm. And I think Jesus would have had no trouble, mm-hmm. with his 1,000 on the Hawkins scale, I think Jesus would have had no problem with any of these healing problems. And but this is just me. This is this is where I've been led to work, and I personally think that these 3 physical problems I've had are entirely to keep me focused on doing the work. And I certainly am working a lot harder when I'm in pain and have these physical problems going on. And so, in that sense, they're a great benefit. I mean, they certainly have my attention all day, every day now. And on the other hand is I do see the great fruitage. With the exception of 2 cubic inches on my wrist, I'm healthy as a horse, and my supply problems are completely solved, and there's nothing wrong in my life, and so there's a great deal of fruitage, and my wrist hurts, so there's that situation. The other thing that I experience frequently, am sitting in and this is just to show you how little understanding I have. Frequently, I mean, like often daily, I wind up, I usually ride my bike up to a point up on the strand up and watch them surf for a while and look for dolphins and such like, and I am frequently overwhelmed with this incredible feeling of wellness, of well-beingness, of all is well, of everything is just exactly right, that everything is fine, and I trust that completely, and I absolutely know that's true, and if that's true about my spiritual being, and and what I'm doing is I'm experiencing my physical body in that moment, and I have this really wonderful feeling, and while I'm having it, my wrist hurts, okay? So that's where I'm at, and I keep thinking that we should be able to get through this. I have a long history of solving things, and the reason we have 13 editions of the Script and Kid Handbook is because I keep pushing, wanting to figure out how to help people get finished with the work, because nobody's getting finished with the work, it seems like, for a long time. Now we are finally, but it seemed like nobody was, and it's still true to some extent, people continue to get blindsided by their kids, and why? And I keep thinking there should be, that we should be able to attain the level of consciousness where these things cannot happen. And I have not been able to do so far. And regardless of what we do, and I'm not shutting down the class, and I certainly I'm not saying that this is the last class or anything like that. I don't want to stop that at all. I really love the work we're doing, and I love what I'm hearing in all the sharing that's going on. But I also noticed that in the first class there were 18 on the line and 6 people here, and now there are 9 on the line and 2 people here. And so I'm clearly not meeting half the needs. And yeah, this is just a open session of where do we go from here. And I think by airing it all out now, I may get led from within, hopefully, or from you all. Maybe one of you will be led from within, so that we know where we're supposed to take this. Because I don't think we're supposed to shut down. I think this community is important, and we've demonstrated that to the people those of you, the 8 or 10 of you who show up every week, are moving, and there's no question about that. And I'm moving as a result of doing this work with you. So, and I'm also moving as a result of these physical problems. So, it's all working. And I'm sort of aimless right now because we've come to the end of the Only God Is class, and I'm looking around to see what's next, or how we improve our effectiveness, or improve the fruitage, or what do we need to do, or And I guess I'm really hoping that by laying it all out like this, that I'll wake up in the middle of the night and get some answers.
Yeah.
I expect answers. I do. I expect there is an answer, and I expect that a revealing ministry is quite possible, and I get too much out of the listening to the Joel audios, and I get too much given to me while I'm listening to them. This morning's audio was just wonderful. I mean, it was just amazing, the stuff that was in this morning's audio. It took me until I started at 3 in the morning listening to that, and I wasn't done until 7:45, limping through that thing a sentence at a time, and it was just amazing. So I'm getting all this stuff, so I know the process is working. I just, I'm sort of listless and undirectional right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think too. This is such hard work. I think if we end up with 8 people, that's pretty darn good. But not everybody can hear. I sure couldn't for a long, long time. It hasn't been since in the last. I've been taking your stuff for 17, 18 years, and this past couple years has been the most I've been able to experience the teachings of the infinite way. So it takes a long, and like you always say, everybody can go as far as they can go. It doesn't feel like a reflection on anything else. It just feels like that's as far as people can go. So and I always think too, I guess whatever I still have, or whatever is still going on, is somehow helpful to others. I can only go there, and so
yeah.
Okay. Well,
the whole point is to be, if there is a point, it's to be of service to others and raise the consciousness of humanity.
Yeah.
It's the old bodhisattva, the old idea of the bodhisattvas. May I not completely release myself into oneness with God until every sentient being is realized, and which is also why Ho'oponopono is here, So, that's my work, and part of what we're doing right now, I know that's my work. And part of what this is all about is you guys helping me discover how I can be most effective in doing this work. And I don't really care whether it's 8 or 18 or 38, as long as I would like to be as much help to as many as possible, whatever that means or looks like. And obviously I'm probably too organized and nerdy and structured to for many about the principles of the infinite way, but that's fine too. Those who can keep up, that's good, and and it's what I was told to teach. So it's all fine, but I'm directionless at the moment.
Okay. Well, that's all I have. I don't want to take up all the time.
I really appreciate it. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Let's take a break until 5 minutes after the hour now, and then we'll come back and talk about anything we want to for the rest of the hour, and talk about what you'd like to do next week. Okay? Coming back at 5 minutes after the hour.